Hi, my name is Dr. Michelle Miedenberg. The last video we talked about forgiveness, and we're going to continue talking a little bit about forgiveness and then do a guided meditation that's specifically on the subject of forgiveness. So when we think about, why we seek forgiveness, from ourselves and others, usually we think about our behavior and what prompted the behavior we engaged in. And for ourselves, sometimes it could be an impulsive moment. I call it a human moment. Like sometimes we have moments where we don't act and behave, maybe as we typically do, or we're not being our best self. And that's because as humans, we're imperfect. Besides it being potentially an impulsive moment, it could also be a lapse of judgment or poor judgment in the moment. And from others, often our mind goes to the space of saying that, they don't value or appreciate us, or they could be mean-spirited. But again, I think from others too, it's the same thing. They're having a human moment. And that's not in any way to condone either our behavior or the behavior of others, but it's just to understand it a little bit better. And when we have compassion for ourselves and others, then we could find the peace that we're looking for, and we're able to forgive ourselves and other people. Sometimes because it rubs against our values, our core values, and doesn't allow us to be our best self, we could go through the process of perseverating over it and rethinking it. It's almost where you're replaying it in your mind over and over again and thinking about how the process and the results could have been different than it was. And that's because of the regret, obviously. So the last thing I want to say about it is, if it's really, really difficult to let go of and we're feeling kind of stuck and we can't move past it, sometimes you really have to think about, does this relate to something a little bit more formative, maybe from our past, and maybe it's rubbing up against something. And if that's the case, it's really, really helpful, besides practicing radical forgiveness, to maybe explore, what's lodging it. And sometimes things could get kind of stuck or lodged between our thinking mind and our feeling mind, which is the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. And sometimes it takes a little bit more work, an effort to unlodge it. And, it could be done through psychotherapy. For example, there's, a type of treatment that I do, which is called EMDR, which is very effective at helping through that, type of stuckness, and other types of treatments as well. So if you're finding that, you cannot move past it, that you're really, really stuck, it might require you, understanding a little bit better what it's, kind of tapping into for you, or triggering, or bringing up. And, if you don't, sometimes that stuckness, could have results, like long-lasting results, such as like fear of intimacy, or difficulty trusting others, or concern that you're going to, get hurt, right? So there's a lot of things that could come up, especially when you're engaging, in relationships. It taps into a lot of feelings, thoughts and feelings. So that being said, we're gonna do a guided meditation on forgiveness. And again, this forgiveness speaks for forgiveness that we have towards ourselves, and also the forgiveness of others. Because in the course of our lives, there are times that we do things personally that we're regretful of. And, we need to have compassion for ourselves. And then sometimes where we're really hurt because of rejection, or somebody doing something very specifically, that really, for whatever reason, could be very hurtful to us. So if you could sit up straight, and if you feel comfortable enough, if you could close your eyes. And I want you to try to bring to mind someone, who has harmed you. And again, it's based on your experience of being harmed, whether it was intentional or not. And bring to mind somewhere in your mind where you could really visualize that person. noticing the details of their appearance. And when you're ready, gently say this person's name to yourself and have a vision of them. And notice as you're saying their name and as you're thinking about them in detail, if there's any thoughts or feelings that are coming up. Notice if they're coming up in your body. Notice the quality of your thoughts and the intensity of them. And as you're thinking about this person, again, we're going to ask for forgiveness. I forgive you for not understanding. I forgive you for making mistakes. I forgive you for causing pain and suffering. I forgive you for your human moment. And as you're asking for what you need and letting them know how you feel, think about feeling empowered by taking back control over your life and the ability to let go of maybe the hurt or the anger or the resentment, whatever it is that you're sitting with. And try as best as you can to not get lost in the content of the story or whatever may have happened. And again, take your time from a real felt sense, from inside your body and inside your heart, as with the intention of healing and being aware of your breath and your body. And repeat again, I forgive you for not understanding. And I forgive you for making mistakes. And I forgive you for causing pain. And I forgive you for causing suffering. And your forgiveness is a way to empower you. It's a gift you're giving to yourself. And now, have in your mind something that you may have done to yourself, to others. And again, try to think of in detail what that might have been for you. And try again not to get caught up in the content, but to notice how you're feeling in your thoughts and in your body, and that felt sense that's coming from your heart with the intention of healing and asking for and opening yourself up to receiving forgiveness with a full heart. And say to yourself, I forgive myself for not understanding. And I forgive myself for making mistakes. And I forgive myself for causing pain. And I forgive myself for causing suffering. And again, notice how you're feeling. In your body, what thoughts are going through your mind. Just notice that. And repeat again, I forgive myself for not understanding. I forgive myself for making mistakes. I forgive myself for causing pain, and I forgive myself for causing suffering. And allow that to really penetrate your body, the forgiveness, the compassion, the love. Feel it. And put your hand over your heart and actually feel the love. Imagine it encased in your chest. And one last time, repeat after me. We all have human moments. We're all deserving of respect. We're all deserving of forgiveness for our humanness. And let that seep in and hear those words. We could all be forgiven for a human moment. And take a deep breath in and hold it and out. And one more time, deep breath in and hold it and out. And when I count to 3, and when you're ready, you could open your eyes. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you. Wishing you and your families health and safety.